Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm gonna get started with the main event of the evening, the event that I look forward to and have since the very first of these awards. So the purpose of the Brian McGovern Award is to recognize clinical excellence and the underappreciated heroes of clinical medicine who work to take care of patients but don't always get the full recognition of the work that they do that goes above and beyond our usual expectations, our usual high expectations. After his tragic death, the PO created the McGovern Award for clinical excellence to honor physicians who emulate Brian's qualities. I knew Brian. I was a resident and frequently enjoyed the fact that he, in consulting on one of my patients, really took extraordinary time with me to explain things, and he was never impatient with the people that he was working with. At least I never saw it. And that's a rather remarkable thing when you're so busy to get your work done. To not be impatient with your colleagues when they don't know something. I was just a resident. I was learning about cardiac electrophysiology. And that was just one of his amazing qualities. We had 87 nominations this year. You've been watching them, and it's great to hear when a picture of someone comes up and they're at a table here, you hear a little eruption of applause and glee. And I will say that the nominations are what this is really about. It would have been easy to find 87 or 107 people who deserve a McGovern Award. And that was very clear from reading the nominations. But we found 3, and we're going to introduce them just the way we have in the past by having one of their colleagues read from the nominations. Before we do that, we have a short video to show you. And the video is addressing a particular issue that is right up at the forefront of all of our work right now, and that is burnout and the joy in medicine. So we had finding a joy in the practice of medicine. So we gave an assignment to our alumni, McGovern alumni. We asked our McGovern alumni to identify 3 physicians who they thought exemplified people who were managing the work-life balance and doing it in a way that they really felt the joy of medicine. I think you'll agree with me after you see this video that these are 3 individuals who have managed to find a way through all the difficult things that we have to get done in a day to experience that joy. So let's watch the video. Thank you. So thanks so much to the physicians who agreed to participate in this video. I'm sure you will agree with me when I say that these are 3 exemplary physicians who really find a way through their incredibly stressful, busy work to find the joy in practice. And at a time like this, when the stresses on medicine and the stresses on us are acute and getting stronger, we should hold up these as models for how we can find our joy in practice. The 3 McGovern Award winners, which we will now start this process, also have given us an extraordinary amount. And it's with great pleasure that I start this. I need to start by reading the names of the 26 past McGovern Award winners who are here tonight, and I would ask that as I say their name that each of them stand. So Marcela Del Carmen, David Ebb, John Godine, Bonnie McCool, Frank McGovern, Laura Riley, Joanne Shepard, Howard Weinstein. I'm sorry, 8 of the 26. That's right. The rest, those are the ones that are here tonight. So thank you all so much. I would also like to thank John Herrmann. John Herrmann has chaired the McGovern Award Selection Committee since its inception, and he has done a fantastic job. So thank you, John. So for the first award, I'd like to ask Dr. Inga Lennis, the MGPO Senior Vice President for Practice Improvement and Service, and a practicing thoracic oncologist, to come up and read the nominations of our first recipient in medicine.
Thanks, Tim, for that introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here to present this first award. It's my pleasure to work in service of the fine physicians of MGH. I couldn't be more pleased that this physician recipient of the McGovern Award for Clinical Excellence this year. I'm also honored to be asked to read the nomination letters written about her for you. This physician colleague commented on how she is always available to help her junior colleagues. Fellows stream into the workroom to ask her questions, and she answers immediately with thorough, sound, and always helpful suggestions. As a new staff member, I have emailed, texted, called her for advice on numerous occasions, and she is always available for a quick consult. Moreover, when I had a particularly tough case on service, she sat down with me at 8 p.m., running back to work after doing some time at the gym, just to help me review my options as a young attending with a tough case. Another physician said, patients will come from their consultations with this physician with a whole new outlook on their condition, less dread, and more realistic focus on what should be done to have the best possible outcome. I think it is the kind but authoritative advice that she gives that puts our patients at ease. Another physician commented on her ability to work well with other departments. She is one of the few non-obstetricians who know their way around L&D because she comes so frequently. If we call her, she comes. And if we don't call, she comes anyway, just to scope out how her patients are doing. Another colleague described this recipient in this simple but meaningful way. She is a physician who represents what so many of us strive to be every day. Another colleague wrote about the recipient's interaction with other departments and patients. She has a special relationship to the MGH obstetrical service and sees all of their patients who have hematologic problems. Frequently, these are problems with blood coagulation, which require on-the-spot decision-making with high stakes. In the workroom, I'll sometimes overhear her speaking on the phone to one of her patients, congratulating them on their new baby, which means to me that she was instrumental in getting that mother through pregnancy safely. Finally, I'll read from my own nomination. As a hematologist that has dedicated her practice to hematologic problems during pregnancy, she sees some of the most vulnerable and heartbreaking cases in the hospital and is a trusted resource to her OB colleagues in managing bleeding and clotting disorders of pregnancy. In addition to being a clinical expert for this complicated population, she's an accomplished generalist hematologist and frequently rounds on the inpatient hematology service, seeing over 20 patients a day. Every one of her patients is met with a friendly smile, a kind demeanor, a razor-sharp intellect, and problem-solving ability. It is my pleasure to announce that Dr. Anne Marie Fogarty is the 2017 recipient of the McGovern Award for Clinical Excellence in Medical Services. I'm honored to accept this award on Anne Marie's behalf tonight. Anne Marie cannot be with us tonight because her father, Bill Fogarty, died last night on Phillips House 20. She wanted me to tell you that this was the same floor that he was born on over 70 years ago. She asked me to pass on that this award is very special to her because she is so blessed to have amazing colleagues of the MGPO, and she extends her heartfelt thank you to the many among us who took exceptional care of her exceptional father. Thank you.
For the second award, I would like to ask Dr. David Ryan of Hematology Oncology to come up and read the nominations for our second recipient.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everybody. It is my great pleasure to be asked to read from the nominations for this very accomplished and terrific physician. I'll start with this one. In this era of medicine in which organizations are getting more complex and physician burnout rate is increasing, and when work-life balance is getting more and more difficult to manage, he has been a rock, navigating junior faculty, medical oncology fellows, and radiation oncology residents through the nuances of surviving academic medicine with your emotional and social well-being intact, unquote. This nominator shared a moving patient story about how this recipient coordinated care for a patient across the country. Over the course of several weeks, the patient had undergone multiple procedures and evaluation in his home state, but they were unable to identify a specific diagnosis and could not achieve satisfactory improvement in his liver tests. This physician, our physician, was able to rapidly arrange transfer to MGH. He quickly established referral lines, the kind that you just saw, to all the referral subspecialties, to interventional endoscopy, medical oncology, and pancreas surgery. Within 4 weeks of arrival, the patient had successful biliary decompression, an improvement of his tests, a diagnosis of cholangiocarcinoma, and underwent a Whipple resection. The patient has done well and returned home. Another physician colleague wrote, the number of radiation oncology residents, medical oncology fellows, junior medical oncology staff, and even more senior staff who turn to him for advice on research or clinical cases is just mind-boggling. He is constantly working to provide and promote research opportunities within the division, sharing co-authorship opportunities widely. And most importantly, he listens and supports junior staff at vulnerable periods in their career to calm waters in rough seas. A longtime colleague was also inspired to write about the recipient, quote, in nearly 30 years of working with specialists in the care of cancer at 3 pretty good institutions, he is one of the most enthusiastic, hardworking, patient-centric, talented individuals I have ever had the opportunity to work with. Now, on a personal note, I've been working alongside this outstanding physician for 10 years. His love of the craft of medicine shines through on a daily basis. And as we saw in the video, there is no joy without love. And the love of medicine shines through with this person. He is the heart and soul of the Gastrointestinal Cancer Center, bringing joy to both patients and physicians alike. His pursuit of excellence on behalf of his patients in the face of some of the most challenging cancers and medical diagnoses that we face, pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, GE cancer, rectal cancer. And finally, probably most importantly, his generosity to his clinical community, to his research community, to his patients, and to the MGH is inspirational. I can think of no finer physician in this wonderful tradition of the Massachusetts General Hospital and exemplified by Brian McGovern and these eponymous awards. I'm thrilled to announce that Dr. Ted Hong is a 2017 recipient of the McGovern Award for Clinical Services and other services.
Okay. The last McGovern Award recipient. To read the recommendations for the last McGovern Award recipient, I'd like to ask Dr. Dolfhutter to come up to the podium.
Thank you very much, Tim. I'm very pleased to have a chance to read for the nomination for this physician received for the McGovern Award for Clinical Excellence. I should note that there have been many nominations for him over the past years. A senior physician wrote this about the recipient's commitment to innovation. Quote, he has always put the patient and their family first. He's been courageous in adopting new procedures to help patients. Many nominations mentioned the physician's mentorship. He would mentor his younger staff, always providing sage advice and upbeat comment or encouragement when needed most. He would respectfully lead his team in the OR, in the CCU, in the office, or the floor with leadership, direction, and focus to provide the best for his patients and for the institution. And he always did it in his way with a smile and a glint in his eye that made you proud to work with him. He is one of the best trained and worked here ever. Another colleague said, he is a role model for his clinical expertise in being an extraordinarily caring person. For almost 3 decades, he has been the go-to guy in the division for the most difficult and complex patients coming to the MGH from all over the world. Despite the complexity of these operations and complicated courses, he not only provides the highest level of technical care, but he helps manage patients through the difficult perioperative course in a caring and supportive manner. In fact, I saw him for years, seeing his patients every day after the operation to be sure that his care was excellent. Another nominator mentioned his thoughtful interactions with patients. An office visit with him includes a detailed discussion and explanation of the problem, its history and options. It also includes a prolonged discussion about what would happen, about world happenings, about family, and of course, the latest gossip. Many patients told me he's not your typical distant surgeon. Apologies to all the surgeons here. He is incredibly likable and friendly and has many interesting stories and facts to discuss. I would say that applies to all of the surgeons here and at the Mass General. Indeed, as you've heard before, this is not written down, it is such a pleasure to work at this hospital with the great people that we have here, the love we have for each other, the give and take, the learning we get from each other, the absolute candor, the ability to say, I don't know what the answer, what is the answer? I'll go back to my script now. His administrator commented that his family, patients, colleagues, co-workers, and outside referring physicians can always count on him. I constantly receive calls, letters, and holiday cards from patients and family members to thank him on their anniversary of receiving their new heart. I don't think it was a transplant, but the newly fixed heart, and that he has given them back their life, being able to see their children and grandchildren grow, for the ability to see their children marry, to see and experience so much that they otherwise would have missed without his abilities and brilliance. I see and hear that every day, or just about, and I'm so proud to be part of his team, as he had made me who I am today as well. I can personally attest to these comments, having worked with this gentleman for many years. He's always been willing to take on the tough, unusual cases and has achieved remarkable results. He has always been congenial, even under times of stress, both with his colleagues and his patients, and indeed has been a great pleasure working with him. It is with great pleasure that I ask Dr. Gus Lucas to come up and receive the 2017 McGovern Award for Clinical Excellence for Surgical Services.
I like the off-script stuff. Okay. Well, congratulations to Dr. Fogarty, Hong, and Vlahakis. I'd like to conclude the evening by asking you to join me in thanking the MGPO staff who made this night possible. Jenna Berube, Emma Liestma, Sarah Laroff, Sandy Deeden, Sherwood Hughes, Sarah Lenz, and the whole team sitting over there. So thank you very much. And now I'm supposed to, I was told that I should show by example and lead you to the dance floor. Why don't I just invite you to mingle and use the dance floor as you will. Have a great evening. Thank you all so much for coming.